So I go away for 1 week on holiday and the PM resigns, plunging the government that we voted in into even more turmoil. Is anyone even running the country anymore? More importantly, what does this actually mean for our finances? Want to find out? Let's go! Hey everyone, it's Lewis back again with another video, and today there's more drama to unfold on Downing Street. And as much as this isn't a political channel, politics can have a massive effect on our everyday lives, most definitely including our finances. And whilst there is still so much up in arms at the moment, I'll attempt to unwrap it all in this video and give an opinion on what would be the best and worst case scenarios for our money as to who will replace the great floppy-haired bumbling one.
With fantastic broadband. Forgive me.
Before we get into all of that, I just want to say a massive thank you. During my time off in Spain, which was simply incredible by the way, it was such a required boost to just get away for a bit, completely forget about work and a lot else and just unwind. But anyway, during that time, we didn't only get to 100 subscribers on this channel, we absolutely smashed that goal and are currently sitting at 120 subscribers at the time of recording this video, which is just amazing. Thanks to all of you, this channel continues to grow, which just motivates me further and further to get more content out there and to continue to improve the content as well. And if you are new around here and haven't yet subscribed, do consider joining this community. We talk about everything personal finance here. And of course, give this video a like to get it out to more people so that they know exactly what the situation in government will mean for their finances. Right, so the first thing is that what is going to happen in the short term? Well, as we now know, there will be a new PM on the 5th of September 2022. And right now, the Conservative Party members who want to be the leader of the party next, and with that, the next Prime Minister, are now starting their leadership campaigns to try and gain as many votes from party members as possible in order to win. Now, unfortunately, us, the general public, don't get to vote for the next leader of the Conservative Party, and of course, the next PM, which in my opinion is a completely broken system, but then again, that's politics for you, right? As we all probably know by now, markets don't like uncertainty. However, as soon as Boris Johnson announced his resignation, the FTSE 100, the London Stock Exchange, actually went up, which is quite the indication that his favourability amongst investors was at an all-time low. Usually when something as big as this happens, stock markets and foreign exchange markets can go on a bit of a drunken bender, and with that comes market volatility, as can be seen in the previous week's chart of the FTSE 100. It's really all over the place. It's also the same with the pound to both euro and dollar exchanges, that is the US dollar exchanges, and a lot of volatility means that it is going to be going up and down. So up until September the 5th at the very least, you might expect to see a little bit more of this as the Conservative Party navigates this new leadership election. If you've got the stomach for it, all I would say is to take advantage of this and stay the course. Stocks currently remain relatively cheap right now. We're still in an overall bear market, which means that just like Prime Day that went on this week, you could pick yourself up some quality bargains. But unlike Prime Day, these bargains will actually grow your money over the next few decades and won't just make your bedroom lights go a different colour. Alexa, set bedroom lights to red. Or keep your cat fed for what now feels like half a year. I think you got enough, haven't you? 85 quid well spent. Quite honestly, if you're invested in quality companies and or indexes within the UK or anywhere else for that matter, then it simply shouldn't matter what is going to go on in the next 10 years, let alone right now. When it comes to savings, this won't change anything unless the Bank of England raise interest rates again, which is almost certain to happen and very soon, like they keep on saying that they will do in order to curb inflation. It's worth noting that whilst the Bank of England is wholly owned by the government, they are a completely separate entity. They work in tandem with one another to try and keep the economy growing and stable. However, the BOE isn't run by the government, so they can basically do their thing in order to keep our economy going. I have to say that currently they are doing a pretty good job, as it's just come out recently that in May, our economy actually grew by about 0.5%, something like that. I'll put the real thing right here. I also want to stress that the financial stimulus that the now previous Chancellor Rishi Sunak implemented in order to curb the cost of living crisis will still happen. That has been set in stone by our version of what the US call executive orders, and the royal family have signed off on it as well, so it'd be near impossible for the cost of living payments to be reversed. And quite frankly, if they ever were, I can only imagine that there would be full-scale riots in the streets, which literally is what no one wants right now. Or ever. Right now, I mean, yeah. I really want to riot in 3 years' time. Well done, Lou. Great stuff. So basically, don't worry here. What Sunak announced earlier this year is still going to go ahead. We're still going to be getting those cost of living payments, and the national insurance threshold should still rise, etc., etc. Okay, so what about the long term? Well, it completely depends on who is elected as the new Conservative leader and therefore the new PM. Unless an earlier snap election is called, the next general election isn't going to be going ahead until January of 2025. Right now, it's simply not in the Conservative Party's favour to call a snap election, as Labour are currently leading the polls. So with that being said, here are my best and worst case scenarios for our finances long term. Additionally, I will also put a case forward for the opposition, the Labour Party, to see exactly what Keir Starmer will do, or says he'll do, for our money. Now, before I do this, please do understand that this is just my opinion. These aren't facts set in stone, and we're at the very early stages of the Conservative Party leadership run, so a lot could change in the coming months. So, in my opinion, the best case scenario for our finances is that Rishi Sunak becomes the next Prime Minister. Sunak is an economically driven leader who would more than likely adopt a much tighter economic policy, focus much more on inflation, the cost of living crisis, etc. in the short term, and will definitely want to keep the pound strong against the euro and dollar and keep the stock market in the green. He has an investor's mindset. This is likely to be a very good thing for us going forward. Additionally, whilst most people think that it might not matter as much as it used to when we were a member, Sunak's relations with the EU should be quite sound, and that is still very important, because this could serve to benefit the ongoing Brexit negotiations like the Northern Ireland Protocol. He sounded off recently as well when opening up his leadership campaign, quoting that a Thatcher-based approach for the economy is best. You must earn what you spend. He also committed to cutting taxes responsibly and resonated very heavily with Thatcher's attitude to family-style budgeting. This falls in line with his history on voting as well. On taxes, Sunak has consistently voted to reduce the capital gains tax, which is fantastic news for investors like us here on this channel who seek to grow their money. So the worst case scenario is Liz Truss becoming the new PM. In my opinion, Truss can't be trusted. Look, in terms of jokes, I only work with what I'm given here. This stuff literally just writes itself. But honestly, Truss leans too far to the right and is way too back and forth on her opinions and on her voting stances. In 2016, she actually campaigned and voted to remain in the EU. A few years later, now, she's saying that she regrets doing that. She has also pledged to reverse Rishi Sunak's national insurance threshold rise, with certain economists describing this as nuts. This could definitely increase inflation even further than to what it is now. So when it comes to Brexit, can she really be trusted further in any negotiations, including the important Northern Ireland Protocol? I'm not so sure. And I think that her leadership could create longer-term uncertainty because of this, especially if she takes a hard stance on negotiations, as she leans very much to the right. This all could mean that they are very long and drawn out like they were under Theresa May. This may weaken the pound further against other currencies, especially the pound to euro conversion, meaning that many people could get less for longer for their holidays than before. And then, of course, there's the case for the opposition, Sir Keir Starmer's Labour Party. As per Labour's website, which is where I got all of the upcoming information from, Labour's plan on the cost of living crisis is to cut VAT on home energy bills, insulate millions of homes, cut small business rates and support businesses through the crisis, and buy, make and sell more in Britain in an attempt to create well-paid, secure jobs within the country. As is always the case for new prospective governments, it all sounds great, but it could easily turn out to be just lip service. Also, when I was looking for their government manifesto to see what they will do for the economy, there's a massive faux pas on their website. They still have Jeremy Corbyn listed as their leader under their local manifesto page. That's awkward. However, this is all clearly outdated information, as the last manifesto was built under Corbyn's leadership in 2017. But still, can someone at least please update the leader of the party on their official website? Recently, in late June 2022 actually, Starmer announced that he's actually scrapping Labour's current manifesto from 2017 and is starting from scratch on their policies. This isn't what he said in 2019 when he described the 2017 manifesto as a foundational document that Labour has to hang on to as we go forward. He's now saying that's been put to one side and the slate is wiped clean. Again, not a good start for someone who wants to lead the country, and another case of a somewhat wishy-washy back and forth MP. And don't we love all of those? However, the Labour Party have historically been somewhat revolutionary for the country. Remember that it was them who created both the NHS, our National Health Service, and the minimum wage. For finances, that could be a good thing, as I'd be certain that they would want to focus on increasing that responsibly, along with keeping the economy going for everyone, not just the rich and corporations. However, this could mean that Labour's stance on investors isn't as soft, shall we say, as the Conservative stance is. I can only imagine that taxes will be raised for investors, such as capital gains, dividends, and the like. However, again, this is just opinion and going off of history. And to be completely honest, if you want to avoid paying as much tax on your investments, park them into an ISA. We all get a £20,000 tax-free allowance each tax year that runs from April to April, so make sure that you use it. So to conclude, what am I going to be doing differently with my money? Nothing, actually, nothing at all. I will continue to invest each and every month into the stock market, both actively in some of my stocks and passively with some of my ETFs. I will continue to build cash savings where necessary for short-term goals and keep my emergency fund topped up. And I will absolutely be steering clear of any long-term debt at the moment, especially in the face of an ever-growing interest rate climate. And of course, I will continue to live below my means to ensure that I can keep investing and keep my head well above water. I've lived in a much worse position before. In 2007, we were evicted from our home. I'm not going to go back to that life. Inflation is also still going to run quite hot in the short term, so there's very little point in spending like a politician and keeping up with the Joneses, as everyone says. As always, I really hope that you found this video helpful, and if you did, let me know in the comments down below and let everyone know down below who you think is going to be the best and maybe even the worst case scenario for leadership in this country for our finances going forward. And if you haven't already, do consider subscribing for more money related content. I post videos every Monday and Friday at 6:30 PM UK time. Stick around for all of that. Also, make sure to follow me on all of my socials down below for even more. Grab some free money and free stocks using some of the links down below. And remember, until next time, every quid counts. See you soon.